Oh, yeah, that's fine.
All my hair is off. So it's all right to keep my hair on.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
I'm talking to her. I'm just teasing her.
Here you go. All right, so we are here today with Maliyha Simpson and Ms. Alma Clark, and Maliyha is going to interview her.
All right, Maliyha.
All right, you can start, girl.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Maliyha. I'm 10 years old.
You have to talk a little louder, okay?
Yeah.
Just, your name is what?
Maliyha,
And what you want, what did you say to me? What's my name?
Ms. Alma Clark.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So read this again.
Yeah, just start it again, but speak louder.
Uh-huh,
so
just
she can
speak
hear
louder.
you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Maliyha. I'm 10 years old. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Alma Clark, and I'm 94 years old.
Thank you for being here.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
How do you remember that? Just
Mrs. Clark.
okay, Mr. Clark. You're history because I want to learn from you, and also learn about my community history.
Okay. I wasn't born in Denton. I was born in a little town called Lampasas, Texas. That's close to Austin, about 72 miles west of Austin. But I came to Denton in 1962 with my husband and 3 little children, 2 boys and a girl. And we moved over on a street called Hickory Street. And I've been there ever since.
Can you please tell me more about your family?
Talk.
Can you please tell me more about your family?
Yes, I surely can. I can tell you about my family. I have 10 brothers and 2 sisters. But the reason why I said that, I had 6 brothers that my father had, then my mother had the 4, so that's why it was, they just, not the whole entire family had that many, but between my father and my mother. And I have a picture of my father. Sure. This is a picture of my father, and this is his twin sister. And his name was William, and we called him Bill, or in other words, we called him Pisa. That was the nickname. But there's his twin sister. Her name is Sophie. And here is a picture of my mother. That's a picture of my mother. Her name was Ruby. I don't know when this picture was taken, and I don't know how old she was because my mother died when I was 4 years old. But anyway, this is the only picture that I had, that the family had. But that's her taking care of a little baby. You see where I got my height from. That's from my mother. Okay. I didn't bring any pictures of my brothers and sisters. Because I'd have to look them up. Those was just close by. Okay.
How was it growing up back then? How was it growing up back then?
What she said?
How was it growing up back then?
Oh, growing up back then. In my hometown, my neighborhood was mixed. We had blacks and whites. And we got along real well together. And Spanish. The Spanish and the whites went to the same school, and they went to the same church. But those of us blacks, we had to go to what we call the colored school. So our school was not integrated. We would go to the Back then we called it the picture show. Now y'all call it the theater or the movies. We would all walk uptown, the blacks and the Spanish, to the picture show, pay our money. The Spanish and the whites would sit here and we'd have to go upstairs. But the stairs was outside. We pay our money right here, then we go around and go upstairs to see the movie. We called it the crow's nest. And then when the movie was over with, they would come out this door, we would come out our door, and we walk back into our community. When we would go shopping for clothes, the Spanish and the white could go into the store and try their clothes on. But we as blacks, they would take the clothes and measure our shoulders to see if it would fit. And if it had long sleeves, then that was where we couldn't try the clothes on. When we would go to the doctor had a special place for us to stay. We couldn't go into what we call the main office. He had a little room, not much bigger than a clothes closet where we have to wait. When we died or passed away, the white undertaker would come and take us to his establishment, do the embalming, and bring us back to our houses until they got ready to have the funeral. That's what happened. We couldn't stay, in the chapel like we do now. So that was it. Okay.
Do you know about Quakertown?
Yes, I know a little bit about Quakertown. This is my husband. And he grew up in Quakertown. He was born in 1900. And when he came to live in Quakertown, he was 5 years old. So he had many stories to tell me about Quakertown. It was a town, all black citizens were there, but it had a grocery store, it had barbershops, it also had a school, it had churches, large halls, and the people owned their homes. Back then, they grew their own vegetable garden. They had cows and horses and mules. And so everybody loved everybody. And so that was it. It was a well-knitted community, okay?
Can you please tell me more about Quakertown?
Yes. Quakertown, it really got established, what we call in 1875. And it got established right in this area where you're sitting today. But it wasn't Quakertown then, it was first known as Freedman's Town. And there was 27 Black families that left the city of Dallas and came here and established this area. And they stayed here in this area from 1875 to 1890. And then they left. So Freedmantown is here where the Martin Luther King building is, the Thomas Rivera School, Denton Housing Authority, the Mount Calvary Baptist Church, and Marvin Street Baptist Church. We don't know. We might be sitting in somebody's house right now, or it could have been, where they had their cows or their horses or something. But all this was called the Freedman Town for the Blacks. Most of them had to worked downtown Denton and on West Oak and East Hickory. So back then they'd have to walk or ride the mule or horse or go in a wagon. So when the area that was closer to downtown came available, they decided to leave this area and buy the area up there. And they renamed it Quakertown. And there they stayed there from 1890 until 1923.
Can you please tell me more about can you please tell me more what makes our community special?
What was special is what? Because they were able to be free and have their own town, their own community, churches. They had a doctor. They had, can you imagine in 1921 having their own Black doctor? And they had their own schools and teachers. There was no segregated because most of all the people there they had Black teachers. And so, and therefore they had a funeral parlor. So they didn't have to be embalmed and brought back home. They could stay at the funeral parlor until time. They had barbershops, they had beauty shops. And so it was just like any other town. And what they would do to entertain themselves, the churches and the lodges was very predominant there. And the children, you know, you didn't ask them, but I want to tell you about the children. They had fun. They played a lot because they had croquet, you know about the croquet that they played. And then at ball, they played ball. They played horseshoe. You know anything about horseshoe? Okay. Well, those are some of the games that they played. And most of the little girls, you know about playing jacks and things, don't you? Okay. So they were able to entertain themselves, and everybody was respected, you know. They didn't have to worry about being called out of their names. The older people that owned businesses and church folks, they was addressed as Mr. or Mrs., and you wasn't called or nigger, you wasn't cursed out like they did, but and everybody just felt free and comfortable and happy because they were able to be treated as another human being and treated as an American.
What did you wish you were my age?
What did I wish? When I was your age, I was living in a state, in a town called Oklahoma City. I had an older brother, and we had an aunt there. And they thought maybe because the aunt that was raising me here in Texas was having a hard time because there wasn't much money coming in. So we had another aunt that had a pretty good job, and she didn't have any children. And my brother was going to go and stay with her husband at the farm. So he took me to Oklahoma City. And this aunt worked for some rich white people. And we said what they call in the servants' quarter, stayed in the white part of town. But I had to learn to ride the city bus in order to get to the Black school. So from the time I was 9 years old until I was 12 years old, life was good for me because my aunt was good. The white people that she worked for was very good. And whatever little 9-year-old girl wanted at that time, I was able to get it. So from 9 to 12, life was good. It was easy living. But my aunt got sick and they wanted to take her back to a town in Oklahoma called Atoka, Oklahoma. And that was out on the farm. And they thought it wasn't wise for me to try to be on the farm because it'd be too hard back then in the 30s. This was like from 1937 until 1941. Two Lampasses. But those 3 years was some good years for me. Okay.
I'm just going to, can you ask her this question again and say it louder?
Can you please tell me what makes your community special? Our community special?
It is one thing right now, it is the diversity of the community that we have, because we have a lot of Spanish people that has come into the community, and we able to live together peaceably. You know, we have good relationship with them. Most of them don't come to our churches and we don't go with them, but as neighbors, we get along real well. And I like that as this community, we help each other along the way. This is kind of an older community, what I say that the majority of the Blacks that's in this community are older people, and the young people that's in the community respect us, and they don't try to take advantage of us like they do in so many of the other towns that try to take advantage. They see us, they call us by our names, and if they see us struggling, especially in my case, since I don't drive, I'm walking sometimes, and they always want to know if they want to pick me up and carry me somewhere. And I hear some of the other ladies that if they trying to put their trash out or something, no one's around, they stop. So our neighbor is a wonderful neighborhood to live in.
Ask her this question again out loud. She didn't hear me. What do you wish you knew? Just ask her again.
What did you wish when you knew you were my age?
So what do you wish you knew when you were her age?
The technology, because we didn't have anything. But you know, we had telephones, but not the way y'all do. The computer, and how you use how you use the internet and all of this. And not only that, that I would be exposed to much more educational wise, because now when you're in school, sometimes y'all have opportunities that you can go on field trips with and go to other places that we weren't able to go. You have lunches, and we had to bring our lunch. Y'all had lunches. You have a building that's clean every day. You have a variety of teachers. I went to a one-room school. We had to bring our lunch, and we had to go outside to use the toilet and use the water fountain. So when that would have been wonderful if I could have done that. I don't know whether your parents bring you to school or whether you ride the bus, but I had to walk to school. There was no bus that was provided for me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Clark, for telling me about yourself and our community. I have learned so much from you today.
Oh, thank you for asking the questions. I hope you learned something. Oh, I want to share you something. Now, look at that. That's my husband's mother and father. Look at it, see that? See how they look? That's the way they were dressed back then, way back in the early 1900s, long time ago. See, they dressed up like And I want you to look at that.
Listen.
I just brought it. Okay.
Wow.
Look what year it is.
1906.
Look at the paper.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
It's
And look at the
amazing.
handwriting.
Oh my goodness. You guys can go back to the computer room. I'll come get you. Great job, Maliyha. You did awesome.
You've done a good job. Next time, just talk a little louder.
You're shy. Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
This is amazing.
That's over 100 years old. Isn't that, and look at the paper.
It's so different.
And look at the writing.
I know. Was this like a journal or something?
Yes. You see, they were in Prairie Good. At that time, that was one of the black colleges that we had back then.
Wow.
But isn't that amazing?
This is beautiful. Who did this belong to?
This was belonged to my husband's cousin. And she was one of the teachers in Quakertown. That was her name. Maggie Hampton. And
Texas.
this was when she was in college.
Can I show the camera?
Okay.
It's awesome. Wow. It's in Texas.
And she was one of the teachers in Quakertown.
Oh my goodness.
Now, but can you imagine? And
Look at
just
the
look at the
paper.
beautiful writing.
I know.
Let's see.
This is
See, but he was one that you don't see people writing like that anymore.
beautiful.
So I said, let me take this. I know you would be happy to see it.
I am so honored.
You see, they came from everywhere in Texas because at that time that was the most famous black college in Texas. So there's even one fellow that was here from my hometown, from Lampasas. Let me see if I can find it. Rice, Texas. This came from Rice, Texas. Yep. Okay.
Residents of Quakertown.
Those are Quakertown residents. On the back, it tells you who they are.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Let's see if I can find it. Sherman, Texas, all over Texas, Tyler, Texas.
Mom.
Louisville, Texas. Well, you know about Louisville. But look at
Wow.
that pretty writing there.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Isn't that pretty?
So pretty. So was it like the students writing her notes?
Yes. No, this was when she was in college.
Oh,
And
so
these
like-
are her college.
Oh.
See, all this is, see, Prairie
Yeah.
Texas. And this is when she was in college. And these were, I guess, you know, back then they had what they call autograph books and things. So, because they wrote some little saying to her and signed it and put it down.
What was your husband's name?
William.
William.
Mhm.
1900. Amazing.
Houston, Texas. Look at that writing there. And it's
Wow,
that pretty there.
that's pretty.
And this is from Franklin, Texas. I don't even know where that is. See preview, and they see what they say. Dear Miss Maggie, as a schoolmate, see that our request, see that.
Yeah, I request you to remember that.
Mhm.
Worth Courage Honor this indeed your sustenance and first right are, that is, oh, birthright.
Oh, okay.
To remember who you are.
Mhm.
That's so cool. Was this like at the end when she was about to graduate, or like was she about to
I
graduate?
guess so, she must have. Because this was what, 1906, and she taught, I don't know when she started teaching in Quakertown, but I guess after she graduated,
Mhm.
had to have been, because this is the years in college, so evidently this must have been her last year.
Yeah.
Since she was, these are, but I was just astonished about
I know. It's amazing.
the penmanship and the quality of the paper,
Yes, everything.
and how old this is. This is over 100 years old. But this is December.
This is amazing.
So evidently that's what it is. Look at that writing, isn't that pretty?
So pretty.
And this is too.
I know, I like how it's like almost like art.
Mhm. This was 07. They was from Washington, Texas. I don't even know where some of these towns are. I know about Austin. Waco, that one I know.
The picture fell out.
Mhm. But this is wonderful, isn't it?
So wonderful. I love the picture.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, then I just wanted to share that with you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much,
Mhm.
Alma. See if we can- So beautiful too, like the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
detail.
Yeah. Oh, if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay. All right. Isn't that amazing?
So my album is a garden spot where all my friends may write. Thorns and thistles flourish not, but flowers alone may thrive. Friends and mates. Wow.
Mhm.
This is amazing.
Mm.
This is amazing. Thank you so much.
Mhm. Mhm. See,
So, how was the interview with this girl? Did you?
okay, she just didn't talk quite that. I know she's young and she'll get it. So
Yes. Oh,
she has a little soft voice. I really like thinking.
is
A
there
little
any,
timid, but she'll be all right.
yeah. Is there anything you would change? Like with the interview?
Well, let me see what we're at. I know they're reading from the paper, but when the person is talking, just tell them to make sure they keep eye contact. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
And speak up. And
Okay.
so I'm a little old and hard of hearing it, but everyone is be aggressive and surely positive at it.
Thank you, Ms. Alma.
But they done okay for 9 years.
Thank you.
You didn't have any fellows?